What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into Coach Steve's Helpful Tips. If you've been watching, it has been fun to do these little small episodes each and every single week. If you're not familiar, they're just little 10-minute podcasts on, right now I'm doing them mostly on Dynasty, usually at the beginning where, we went from what is Dynasty to startups to the life cycle to some other things that we're going to get into today. So I appreciate you for those who tune in and take a watch of it. I do enjoy doing these. Of course, I said ways to spice up your Dynasty Fantasy Leagues, part 1. It's going to be maybe 2-3 part series here. Basically just ways to make your Dynasty League more fun, more interesting, and maybe try to keep everyone involved throughout the entire season instead of, I know I'm in leagues where some guys kind of disappear in the offseason and then really ramp back up for rookies and then back up again for the seasons. But I'm trying to help you guys kind of get more out of what you want to do with Dynasty. So first part is the scoring spice. And there's a lot of different ways you can do this to really just take your Dynasty League to another level. Obviously, if you're probably already, if you're not, full point PPR, obviously that is, full point, 1 point per reception. Many people might play half point PPR nowadays. I know I like to play half point PPR nowadays, but it's just another element to your game where, the receivers and pass catchers and everyone obviously gets a nice bump up in scoring. Next one is called tight end premium. You might have heard this throughout your Dynasty leagues or through Twitter or any kind of group chat that you're in, and you maybe don't know exactly what it is and what exactly it is. Basically what it is, it gives the tight end position a boost up over every other position here. So you could do, people say 1.5 tight end premium, 2 point tight end premium. Basically means they will get the 1 point or whatever point they already get with the half point PPR, full point PPR scoring format. And then on top of that, they're going additional 1.5 points for your Dynasty team. So it gives the tight ends, it highlights the tight ends and kind of gives them more importance in the fantasy game. So having that elite tight end is very important. Another way that I've been more recently been doing is RB premiums, basically same as tight end premiums, but you're giving the RBs, those pass catching backs, guys like James White, guys like, Alvin Kamara, guys like Nyheim Hines, guys like J.D. McKissick. They're giving them a bonus for catching more passes, catching more balls per reception. And it's a nice way to kind of get those kind of guys involved in the game, what makes them more relevant, where you could probably start them as a flex options in certain matchups there to help your teams. Bonus points, again, it depends on what league setting you play and what kind of format you're playing. But like Sleeper, and I play in a lot of Sleeper leagues, they have a lot of bonus points for 50-yard touchdowns, 50-yard pass, 40-yard touchdown bonuses, just random things like that to kind of just give your league just another viewpoint on ways to increase the scoring and have more fun with it. And of course, I really haven't played with this one too much, but I know this is in the Scott Fish Bowl. If you guys do play in that, increase the negative points there. Instead of -2 for interception, it's -4. Maybe add -2 for a pick six. Maybe add a -4 for fumbles or incompletions or things like that to kind of, it kind of will balance out the league a little bit there. It might not be what you want to do, but it's just another element and spice to the league to kind of make it a little bit more fun. All right, next up here we have roster lineups, just a kind of way to, spice up your roster. If you're not already playing in Superflex, you should really be playing. Yeah, it's fun to play in single QBs, but in Dynasty, you're just losing out half the roster out there, just sits in waivers, and it's no fun that way. Superflex is basically you're starting, one quarterback, and then you have a Superflex spot, which is like a regular flex spot, but instead you can also start an additional quarterback, which would allow you to have 2 QBs on your starting lineup week in and week out. And again, it will put more value on quarterbacks, make them harder to be traded for, but it will help guys who, guys like Derek Carr, guys like Zach Wilson right now, who may not be QB1s, but they're really important QB2s that you like in fantasy. It's just a nice way to adjust that. You could also, I didn't put this in here, you could also do a 2 QB league where you have to start 2 quarterbacks week in and week out. And it definitely puts a strain on, you need to have these quarterbacks on your team. And it's just another element to kind of make your league just favor the quarterback position as all the NFL does itself. 3 RB, 3 wide receivers. You might already play in a 3 wide receiver standard league setup. I know a lot of my leagues are set up that way. But if you're not, it just adds another wide receiver to your starting lineup instead of it just being a flex spot. And it's just another way to put emphasis on the wide receivers. Same thing for the RBs. Start 3 RBs. That's a pretty hard league. I've been in a league like that, and that's pretty hard because obviously we all know that running backs, it's pretty hard to have a starting running back that you like week in and week out. Having to start 3 just puts guys that you're not trying to ever start in your lineup, like a Rex Burkhead, but somehow you have to just because it's that added element to the league. Double tight ends, kind of the same concept as double QBs. You start 2 tight ends week in and week out. And obviously, people are going to really want those top tier tight ends and the best of the best they possibly get. Because obviously, starting 2 tight ends, you're starting Cameron Brate. Think of last year on a week-to-week basis because you have to start another tight end, maybe because of buys, injuries, what have it. Again, puts more emphasis on tight ends. You could add more flex spots. Just make the roster bigger. Instead of it just being 9 or 10 starting players, start 15. Just add more to your starting lineup. Make the emphasis that you need to have players that you want to play week in and week out to start for your team, of course. And that's always another fun way to add in. And of course, IDP. And if you don't know what that means, individual defensive player. Now, IDP is slowly but surely getting there into the love of a lot of fantasy, especially dynasty owners there. Again, I'm still not a big fan of it. I like it in smaller doses, but adding 1 or 2 positions like that is definitely really fun to kind of bring a new spice to your league for sure. You can add individual positions like cornerback, linebacker, the end, or you could just do a whole just defensive league. People do that nowadays. Not my favorite, but I know there's lots of people out there that will say it is one of their favorite leagues possible, and it's fun in that sense there. All right, and then last but not least today, I went much quicker than I thought it was going to, but that's okay. There's going to be more in the next episode here, but maybe I'll take me time to describe this. Expanding on the concept of your league. So instead of a normal 10, 12 dynasty league, start at 14, start at 16. It really will test your skills on knowledge on some of these players that are out there. Instead of just knowing the best of the best, you have to know some of the guys that are the backups, and the 3rd and 4th string wide receivers, and the 3rd string running back at times, and God forbid, even the 3rd string tight end maybe. It's just a way that you're going to increase that roster and have more players to go up against, more players to compete for standings and draft picks. And again, it also helps you kind of get more opportunity to make trades because people want to trade sometimes in these bigger leagues because they want to get a position that they really like. I kind of already ruined this already, but try IDP only leagues again. Just a way to play it differently, have a defensive only league. You know what? People who don't like this, I get it. And I'm not a big fan of it, but it does help. It really helps you understand some of the defensive players to help you with your that's the wrong word to say. Help your normal dynasty leagues because you learn these defensive players. You learn what players are good and what players are not. You learn what cornerbacks are good, what linebackers are good. And it kind of helps you understand, all right, my running back has a tough matchup this week because I've been learning about these defensive players. And damn, this linebacker core is really good. And I'm not really trying to play my running back this week, or vice versa with the cornerbacks are really, really good. And maybe don't want to play my wide receiver or my quarterback this week because I'm scared that they're not going to play up to that level of standard, which is pretty interesting. And of course, last but not least tonight, guys, it's best ball. And if you don't know what best ball is, basically you should be playing it because it's so much fun. It also helps keep you from doing many more leagues than you want to. But best ball basically is you draft your team, and that's really it. No starting lineups. Whatever app or whatever site you use will automatically update the best possible score based on your team as a whole. And that can be really fun as well. Those who maybe just like the draft but don't always succeed in starting the right lineup week in and week out, this is a league for you where you can draft the best team and you will end up winning because you drafted the best team. And again, it's a fun way to do it. You start more leagues that way and you don't really have to do much on that. So so that's going to wrap us up tonight, guys. I hope this was fun, exciting for you guys. Hoping to open up a little bit more to your dynasty life. There will be another part 2, maybe part 3, depending on how long it will take me to do these next sections. This next one is for those more hardcore dynasty owners, those who really want to get out of the box and from the basic spice that I'm showing you guys tonight and really, really excel and really take it to the next level. So I hope you tune back in again next week. I'm hoping again for maybe a Tuesday night show, maybe a Thursday night. I haven't decided yet, but I will try my best to let you guys know in advance. Again, You can follow me on Twitter at Coach Stephen P. You can follow the fantasy coaches on Twitter at Coaches Fantasy. And as always, please go check out our website at www.thefantasycoaches.com. So I thank you guys all for listening. Tune in until next time and have a great